What's up guys, Greg here. This is going to be kind of a strange video because I just want to tell you a quick story of something that happened to me yesterday. I had what I'm going to call kind of an epiphany, kind of a classic rock reawakening from what I'm going to call the jazz coma that I've been in for the last couple years. And at the end of the video I'll tell you the origin of the phrase jazz coma. But this all started when I went to see a friend's band yesterday. And because of COVID, we have not seen any live music in the last year or so, year plus. And finally, things are starting to open up. And a friend of ours had a house party, backyard pool party, like people have all over America, in the summer especially. And a friend's band was playing at the backyard party. They said, his band's going on at around 7 or 7:30. And I mean, everybody knows a band, right? That plays parties. And when you go see, everybody has a band friend that's like all your friends go see all the time. And we have two different friends who have bands like that. We have Dave's band and Alan's band. And literally, I couldn't tell you what the band's name is because that's how we refer to them. Oh, Alan's band is playing tomorrow at a club or a bar or for free at somebody's house party. So we went, and like I say, we haven't seen live music at all. Haven't been out of the house much at all in the last year and a half because of COVID. So let me tell you what happened to me, because you guys know I've been showing a lot of jazz records on my channel lately. And when we got there, he was playing a song called Any Day, which is kind of a deep cut Eric Clapton song. Hey, I just kicked the camera because I'm a bit of a clod. I'm shooting from a different angle today because the lighting, great lighting coming in from that window. And there's a messy room behind me. Don't look at any of the mess. So we got there, 7:30, he's playing Any Day by Eric Clapton, which is a song that I like. I love the Layla album, but most people don't know that song. And then he played a song that just like, hey, this is a great pop song. What is it? I can't, I know this song, but I don't know it. And I've heard it before. Who is it? Yeah, you've had that feeling. What song is that? And this is the beginning of what happened to me with my brain change last night. So let me see if I can remember the lyric for you. I'm just going to sing you like 3 words, so don't get too excited. I'm not a singer. Blah, 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 blah. Verse, 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 and then the chorus is, I wanna buy a tank or an aeroplane. You guys recognize that song? Wanna buy a tank or an aeroplane? Which is the chorus of the song, but it's not the title of the song. So for those of you who are thinking hard, I'll give you a couple seconds. What song is it? What song is it? You don't know. It's a Who song, which I figured out. But then I'm like, is that a Who song or is that one of their solo Pete Townsend songs? It's a Who song. It's called My Wife. And it's kind of a deep cut from a great album, which I happen to have right here because you guys want to see records, I know. That's not it. It's the wrong record, moron. It's from this album. Who's Next? Iconic, one of the most famous Who albums of all time. But it's got Baba O'Reilly and Bargain. And the song is over and Behind Blue Eyes and Won't Get Fooled Again. But My Wife is an interesting song that stands out from the others because it's a little bit more of a complicated rock song. A lot of Who songs are 3 chords. Give me an A, an E, and a D. 3 chords, mate, and smash them really loud. That's kind of the Who's famous shtick is simple songs. Well, this is a John Entwistle song, the bass player, who in some ways is the most accomplished musician in the Who. He plays a lot of notes, John Entwistle. So when he writes a song, it's a little different than a regular Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey song. But I'm sitting there listening to this song and thinking, okay, now I know what it is. It's the Who. And oh my God, I haven't heard this song in 20 years. I haven't thought about it. This is a great song, and I haven't heard it or thought about it in 20 years, and I could probably have gone another 20 years and died without ever hearing it or thinking of it again, except not for my friend's band who played this song. and had the good taste to choose a good song. Because here in LA anyway, I mean, we listen to the classic rock radio station, and they would never play this song. Because I showed you there's, 4 or 5 bigger hit songs on this record than My Wife. It's probably the second most obscure song on here. Maybe the third. An album that has a lot of hit songs, but where classic, so-called classic rock radio has gone is kind of pathetic. The station we have, their playlist seems like it's 80 songs. I think you could do 3 or 4 CDs. That's not 80 songs, but you get the idea. You could do 100 songs and pack their whole playlist in, and you're only going to hear the big hits from the classic. The Zeppelin, Stones, The Who, Van Halen, AC/DC. And each of those groups has 2 or 3 songs that they play over and over. So it's kind of a disservice to both the musician and the listener to have such a narrow view. And that's where my classic rock listening has gone the last few years. It's I'm sick of hearing those songs again, over and over. To hear Back in Black and Highway to Hell by AC/DC, and to hear, name 3 Led Zeppelin songs. Well, there's a bunch of great Led Zeppelin songs. You just don't hear them on the radio. What is the point of this video, Greg? I'm going to get to it. This is a musical journey that I'm going through. Don't you want to come along with me on a musical journey? Don't you? Maybe you don't. I can understand it if you don't. So I was just sitting there going, you know what? There's so much great songwriting out there, and so many great songs, and so many great records, and I haven't been paying enough attention to them because jazz coma. Nothing wrong with a jazz coma, but that's where I've been lately. I've been oh yeah, rock and roll. It's 3 chords. I'm sick of hearing them. Well, open your mind, Greg, and listen to some of those other songs. So after that, he played. See what happens when you don't rehearse. He played "The Kids Are All Right," the song. That's a really nice song too. That's a song it's got a little bit more than most pop songs. And so so that was very nice hearing that song again. I've heard that song in the last 20 years, but when you hear somebody else play it, you think about the songwriting, not just the record. So to me, there's a big difference between the song and the record of the song. And when you're hearing a band play their own version, you kind of break it down to, oh, this is the song, these are the chords, these are the lyrics, as opposed to this is the recording. They're different ideas. They're 2 different flavors, 2 different sides of the same coin. If I'm reaching for cliches. But what are some of the other tunes he played? I told you "Any Day" by Eric Clapton, and the other Eric Clapton tune, "Keep on Growing," which is also from Layla. These are obscure deep cuts. He didn't play Layla. He didn't play Little Wing. He chose 2 songs that fit with his band, and that's an important thing for small bands, cover bands. Just because the biggest hit of the group was X, Y, Z, or whatever, doesn't mean that's the song that fits for your band. So he does a good job of choosing songs that fit his group. He doesn't have a keyboard player. 2 guitars, bass, drums. Pretty simple rock and roll band, right? And they had a really nice lead singer, female lady, and I jokingly say she just went on permanent maternity leave because she quit the band to have a baby and probably won't come back. You can't really hang out with 4 guys drinking booze and going to bars and nightclubs when there's a little baby at home. And if there's a husband at home. It doesn't work. It's not a good idea. It might work. I'm not telling her what to do. But if I had to play the odds, she probably won't come back. So, let's see. I told you about the 2 Who songs, the 2 Clapton songs, and the other song, which is you don't see a lot of bands do, because Steely Dan considered a very difficult band to do their songs live because their recordings are so intricate and complicated and intricate, those mean the same thing. Layered and studio magic and great keyboards. Well, one song that you can get away with a smaller group is Any Major Dude. Great tune. Not really, doesn't really fit in with a lot of Steely Dan tunes because it's just kind of a simple tune, but it does have the unusual chords that you get in a lot of Steely Dan tunes. The other tune that he did a couple of Stones tunes. He did Jumpin' Jack Flash, which everyone knows that song. But then he did Dead Flowers, which is one of my favorite Stones tunes. Dead Flowers. You can send me dead flowers to my wedding, and I won't forget to put a roses on your grave. And the kids from England got really into American country roots music, which is great. And Dead Flowers off of Sticky Fingers, great tune. So 2/3 through this concert, it's just a backyard party. 2/3 through, the hostess, the lady of the house, good friends of ours, came to me and said, do you know any of these? She's like, the band's great tonight, aren't they? Do you know any of these tunes? Do you recognize them? Like, I know every one of these tunes because these are all classic rock tunes, and that's my thing. And she just doesn't know music very well, but that's okay. She enjoyed the music. So then she wanted to do a song with the band, and that's kind of the host's prerogative of a house party. The band doesn't necessarily want you to do it, but is it okay if I sit in with the band? Not everybody can do that, but the host can do that. Can I sit in with the band? So she sang a song called Make Me an Angel, which is actually a John Prine song, but Bonnie Raitt did it. And I was pleasantly surprised she pulled it off. Her voice is not too bad. It worked. It wasn't the embarrassment that these things sometimes become. Another classical tune. So I was talking with the band leader about this today, believe it or not. And he said, yeah, that song's on our no playlist. That song's been played too much, too often. Well, I don't know if it's that well of a song because other people didn't know it. I said, oh, isn't this that song? I was like, oh, I don't know this song. It's a pretty well-known song. So back to my two main points. There are points to this, believe it or not. I did show records, so don't forget. This is not a Who Love Fest, but on the what do you call that thing? The thumbnail that I will make, everybody's going to think I'm going to be talking about the Who for 14 and a half minutes. This would be a good thumbnail. So, yeah, Greg. How was the lighting on my face? Do you want to see my face? Probably not. That song, My Wife, I saw a Who cover band a couple years ago. They didn't do that song. That song is not big enough to be part of some of the Who main shtick. The point I'm trying to make is it was a nice epiphany to sit and enjoy rock music as a guy who's been poo-pooing rock music for the last year or two. Like, I'm a jazz man, I'm a jazz freak, I'm a jazz snob. I don't know if I am. I'm just a guy who's listening to different things and going on my journey, my special journey. So the fact that I got exposed to some classic rock that is not the oldies, top 50, standard repertoire, playlist stuff that gets played over and over. Kick the camera again, third time. That's what really made it happen, and thanks to my friend Alan for having the good taste to choose some good songs. And then I promised you probably at the... the other observation is jazz becomes kind of a solitary pursuit. Most jazz people who love jazz are the only people in their family who love jazz. And there may be people who live alone, and they don't have to annoy their family with jazz. Not everybody likes jazz. A lot of people don't. Most people don't. I mentioned before that jazz sells a whopping 1.7% of new record sales in America. So that's kind of like saying 98% of people don't like jazz. I'm sure that's not a real statistic, but you get the idea. Somebody asked me at another party recently, it was like, pull a question out of the hat and answer the question. It was like, Who's your first crush? Who's your favorite teacher? What's your favorite type of music? Mine was, what's your favorite type of music? Jazz. And people are like, why jazz? Why do you like jazz? I'm going to do a whole video series on that question. Why do you like jazz? But what's the point I'm trying to make here? The point is, jazz is kind of a solitary state of listening. If you like jazz, you're probably listening to it with yourself, as they say. Your family might not partake in it with you. But rock music, party music, probably doesn't work that well as a solitary music the way I'm doing it. To just sit alone in a room, in a bedroom, listening to The Who, it's a much better experience experiencing it with people, drinking, having fun, joking around, dancing. There was a lot of dancing at this party. 50-year-old white suburban people dancing to The Who and Eric Clapton. You don't get to enjoy that sight every day, believe me. And folks who've had more drinks than you'd normally be served. It's fun. My point is that's the difference between rock and roll and jazz. And let me just wrap this long rambling video up with what is a jazz coma? Greg, you said you were in a jazz coma. I borrowed that phrase from the great Rick Beato, who I talk about on this channel a lot. Brilliant music channel, Everything Music by Rick Beato. And he did a great video that is his origin story that you should watch. But if you're not going to watch it, I'll give you the punchline anyway. He has a studio. He's made records, produced records, composed songs. His video channel talks about record producing, the record business, playing guitar, playing how to record stuff. He breaks down songs. He knows about everything, music, jazz, classical, rock. So his origin story, he was teaching music at some East Coast university. I can't remember what it was. He was teaching classical double bass with the thingy and jazz guitar at the same time. And he said, one day a student of mine came in and broke me out of my jazz coma. Early 90s, 91, 92. They came into his office hours and they slapped down a CD on his little machine there and played it. And he said, oh my God, my mind was blown. I hadn't listened to rock music in 10 or 15 years because I was in a jazz coma. And the record was Nirvana. The Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit album had just come out, and it was a major thing when it came out. I remember the excitement surrounding that record when it first came out. And how did he snap out of his jazz coma? This is freaky. He quit his job. Maybe he took a sabbatical, but he jumped in a van. He drove around the country and said, I got to get into the new music scene because I've clearly missed it. I'm alone by myself, cloistered in the ivory towers of the university in my jazz coma. And there's kids out in clubs and in the scene making some relevant, interesting, fascinating, high energy, cool music. So thanks to one of his students that brought him Nirvana, he drove around the country. He got in a bunch of bands. He was in a bunch of punky, edgy, grungy bands. And then he finally settled in, I think, Atlanta and set up a nice studio. And I think he had a gold record or a platinum record or something like that. He's had a lot of success and great YouTube channel. But that was where I borrowed that phrase, jazz coma. Am I in a jazz coma? My epiphany is not as big as Rick Beato's. I'm not quitting my job. I'm not leaving the beautiful suburbs of Los Angeles to drive around in a smelly van, searching for smelly musicians. Okay, not that all of them are. I'm just joking, guys. That's Greg. I'm out. Vinyl Rundown. Follow me on Instagram, please. I will follow you back. Follow me on Clubhouse. Ask for an invite. I will get it to you. We're at 20 minutes, and the camera's going to turn off. Thanks for watching. The epiphany is here. The jazz coma is broken. Rock and roll lives forever.